Greetings to the viewers and listeners of Lecture 3 under the lecture series on the Vedic Big Bang. The main topic under the Lecture 3 is the gravitation phenomenon in the Vedas. For more information, please log on to the website www.vedicbigbang.com or email at shiv@vedicbigbang.com. In the first two lectures, this author presented brief information on the Vedas, the ancient knowledge books of the Hindus, the Vedic literature, and the historical time milestones at February 3140 BCE and February 18, 3102 BCE, over 5,000 years ago. In the chapter 3 of this author's book, the author has validated these dates from the calendar dated historical records in the Vedic literature and those preserved in the temples. Also validated is the reference hypothesis that the Vedic references on cosmology are ancient and precede the 5,000-year period. This will be taken up in the forthcoming lectures. This lecture series, heading towards formulating the Vedic cosmology scenario for the advent of the universe and the Vedic principle for the formation of the solar system, will take some interesting diversions to present a few physics examples permeating in the Veda mantras and those formulated in the aphorisms of the ancient Vedic philosophy and literature. A common modern expression is, "This is a scientific fact." We say this because the modern society has developed science. You would recall from lecture 2 that a literary expression similar to this was cited from the ancient Vedic literature, which stated iti ha vijjayate, which means this is known from Vijnan, or this is known from science. So there must be science in the Vedas and the Vedic literature. The Sanskrit term Vijnan for science literally means specific science, which among other meanings is also physics. To summarize the closely related terms, Jnan is knowledge, any general knowledge. But Vijnan is special knowledge. Vijnan is applied science. More specifically, Bhautik Vigyan means physics, and physics is true knowledge or the truth. The truth does not change whether it is stated today or stated in the far antiquity of a civilization. The Sanskrit term for truth is Satya. When we look into the word formation in Sanskrit, one learns that the term Satya is derived from the as dhatu or the as root. This with krit pratyay leads to its meaning, that which is. When one looks at the word conjugation of the term Satya, one notices that the term Satya is formed of two words, sa and iti, which together means that's it, or nothing else in it, or that only, period. In physics terminology, the truth has no fine structure yielding differing results. It has no alternatives. When a contemporary physicist, this author being one, comes across a truth millennia upon millennia old, she cannot discard it because it happens to be too old. This author's attempt in his book is to bring to the modern science arena the ancient physics thoughts pervading in plenitude through the Veda mantras. The physics is truth, and the truth does not grow old. The main topic under this lecture 3 is the gravitation. The question arises, did the Vedic rishis, sages, have some understanding of gravitation? The quick answer is yes. The detailed Vedic perspective on the subject of gravitation is under the subheading Prithvi, the planet Earth, in chapter 11 of this author's book entitled The Vedic Big Bang, a new cosmology scenario revealed in the ancient Veda mantras of India. Gurutva phenomenon of the Vedas is the gravitation. The seeds of the subject of gravitation or Gurutva were sowed first in the Veda mantras. Rig Veda, chapter 1, Sukt 28, mantra 4. Atharveda, 12th chapter, Sukt 1 and mantra 48. And nurtured further by Rishi Kanad in his Vaisheshik Darshan philosophy. Rishi Kanad in the chapter 5 of his Vaisheshik Darshan has formulated large number of sutra aphorisms on the subject of gravitation, all in the distant antiquity of the Vedic civilization. In this lecture 3, the discussion is limited to only a few aphorisms on gravitation. Initially, Rishi Kanad took up 3 examples to elaborate on how the Earth's gravitation acts on objects. A musal, heavy wooden pestle, falling vertically under gravity when released by hand. B, an arrow moving horizontally and then falling under gravity. And C, the raindrops initially suspended by air and then falling under gravity. These 3 situations of Vaisheshik Darshan, the pestle, the arrow, and the raindrops, are depicted in the diagram by this author. This symbolic diagram is not to scale. The Earth's force of gravity, represented by G, points vertically down. The string of the bow imparts a horizontal force, F, to the arrow. As the arrow flies, its force F is overcome by the force of gravity G. Ultimately, the arrow falls on the ground owing to the Earth's gravitation. Rishi Kanad's 3 examples, the pestle, the arrow, and the raindrops, explain the Earth's gravitation, an invisible physics phenomenon, with remarkable simplicity. In the context of the raindrops in the item C, a sutra aphorism states, Apam sanyoga bhave gurutvat patnam, which means the raindrops in the absence of the union with air fall down due to gurutva or gravitation. About the Sanskrit term Gurutva. Whereas the term Gurutva is colloquially used for heaviness, its yogic meaning stands for nothing else but gravitation. To explain the intended phenomenon of gravitation at a deeper level of inquiry, Rishi Kanad has devoted a large number of sutras to deliberate upon the subject of gravitation or Gurutva. The Gurutva or gravitation in the Veda mantras and in the aphorisms of Vedic philosophy is the Satya, right from the ancient times. Rishi Kanad presented a sutra emphasizing that the Gurutva, gravitation, is an invisible karma action of the earth. He said, Tad Visheshena Adrishtakaritam, referring to the sutra aphorism previous to this. Rishi Kanad states in this sutra, the Gurutva, gravitation, is the invisible karma action of the earth. It is amazing to note from the Vaisheshik Darshan that millennia upon millennia ago Rishi Kanad attributed the falling of objects, big or small, heavy or light, to the earth's invisible force of Gurutva or gravitation. Even though one cannot see the force of gravity, he did not attribute it to God's invisible force. He said instead that Gurutva was the earth's invisible action. A critical study of Rishi Kanad's Vaisheshik philosophy would yield that Rishi Kanad keeps a distinct separation between the creator and the physics. In conclusion, the underlying fact of these sutras is that the knowledge of gravitation or Gurutva is far more ancient than 1666 AD, when Sir Isaac Newton may have seen the apple fall from a tree. We know from Rishi Kanad's expose on gravitation that he did observe a wooden pestle, an arrow, and the raindrops falling, and he explained that the cause for the phenomenon was the Earth's gravitation or Gurutva. Thank you.